Welcome back to the Mustang Halftime Show. This has become one of my favorite segments that we do on our Friday night broadcast. It's our Mustang Memories, and just an opportunity to connect with some former Mustangs and alumni that their stories part of our legacy and who we are and what that thin red line represents. And tonight, man, I'm like giddy because it's a fun moment for me to get to talk to this guy, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, a guy named Bryan Hope that played football here, was part of that early teams that built the legacy that Oologah was going to be just a legacy program. I know we've talked about this time and time again, but in the 1990s, Oologah was the most winning, most successful football program in Oklahoma among all of the different classifications. And Bryan Hope and his teammates helped to start that legacy and do that. So, Bryan, first of all, huge thank you, man. Thank you for taking time out of your life to visit with us in this conversation. And thank you for wearing that beautiful OSU shirt. You know what I'm saying? Brother got to represent.
You got it. Well, thank you for having me. I'm very honored.
Well, Bryan, let's talk a little bit about, you graduated in 1991, I believe, so you would have played in the 1990 championship game. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
When you think about your time at Oologah High School, like, what are some of your favorite memories when you reflect back on those years of being here?
Well, I will say this. It's that climb. When we were freshmen, you know, I heard from like a rumor from somebody around town. They said, when these guys get in high school, these guys are going to be something special. And, you know, it was that climb when you start in sophomore and then you work your way up to your senior year. It's that climb where you start climbing those poles and you start feeling that team gel together. And I will say this is my most favorite time was listening to Brett Williams, our head coach. He would tell those stories. And I've said this for 30 years, that he took a bunch of average guys and made them think that they were better than what they were. Okay. And we still talk about his stories. And we not only had Brett Williams as a great head coach, we also had Rocky Kime. And Rocky Kime is a legend at Oologah. And he was the guy that we all looked up to. We wanted to be just like him, you know, a tough guy. And so I value my coaches there. I do want to mention Scott Briggs and Randy Reisenhoover that was there at that time. And it was just the greatest time, making that climb, seeing everybody get better and believing, you know, and that's one thing that Coach Williams instilled in us is you got to see it, believe it to achieve it. And I still say those things. Yeah. And all of his stories, when we get together, all the teammates back then, we'll talk about that stuff.
I remember Coach Williams he taught Oklahoma history. And he would come in, he had a cane there for a season. I don't remember what leg injury or surgery or whatever led to that, but he'd bring that cane in there. And then for 45 minutes, you just were captivated. He was an incredible communicator, just his stories, and definitely left his mark and legacy as he started that foundation for Oologah football. So you graduated in 91. What happened after that?
Well, I signed with Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy was my recruiter, and I was actually Mike Gundy's first signee that Mike Gundy ever signed. And so I thought that was pretty neat. We were pretty close. I was close with him during my time at Oklahoma State. He had us over for burgers and stuff, all the people that he signed. And that's what I was going to say, too. I've had some great coaches. I was coached by Les Miles. He was my position coach. But I do want to reflect back on Brett Williams and stuff. That was the most fun that I ever experienced as far as football, and the most inspirational from football. And even though I've had some great coaches. Yeah. So I remember want that to be told.
My family bleeds orange and black. I was at Stillwater the same time you were, so I got to cheer for you in Oologah blue and gold, and then I got to cheer for you in Oklahoma State orange and black. And I remember walking down that old English hallway and sitting in a desk outside Sue Rhodes' classroom was Mike Gundy. I still tell this story. I'm like, that's Mike Gundy. And like, who? I'm like, no, he was quarterback at OSU. And so right here in Oologah High School, of course, now been successful at Oklahoma State. And you played a lot of defense here. I believe you were a linebacker for us at Oologah, but they turned you into an offensive lineman.
They actually did. I was middle linebacker at Oologah, and they actually built that defense for the middle linebacker to make all the tackles. And that was my love, and that was my passion, playing defense. And I remember when I got to OSU, my first day I was 230 pounds, 6'4". Within 2 months, I got to 250 pounds. And they start looking at me like they want to put me on the offensive line. So they sent somebody to talk to me, and I told them, well, then I'll transfer to TU and play there. But then after I gave it some thought, I ended up switching over to play center, and I ended up starting at center for 3 years. So It was a good move for me.
So tell us about your life now. Tell us about your family, your kids. You've got a daughter that's a senior here. What's going on with Bryan Hope today?
Well, right now, my kids are grown. I'm pretty much an empty nester. Gracie, she is a senior, and she's working. She's going to Votech. She has a boyfriend, so Dad don't get to see much of her anymore. But I got one that's 31, and he's doing very well. And I've got a son, Bear, that played football at Oologah in junior high and then went to Claremore and played. And he's doing very well, too. I'm very blessed with some great kids.
Well, and you got good news, too.
Yeah, I'm engaged. I'm going to get married, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've been really blessed, and I've been at American Airlines for 24 years. I started right after I left OSU, and it's been a good life.
One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. You know when he's in the room because he's just a bit like you're afraid he's going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? But Bryan Hope is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. And I'm gonna say this too. One of the most successful Oologah football players to ever go on, be a Division I 3-year starter at Oklahoma State. And so, Bryan, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your legacy. Thank you for your investment. Thanks for taking the time tonight. And, man, just to help what they call that thin red line, just that legacy of Oologah football. So, man, thanks for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
We will be back with more of the Mustang Halftime Show right after this.